Hello, hello, my name is Callista and welcome back to What Remains of Edith Finch. In the last episode, we made it up to the little extension thing where Edith, her brothers and Dawn all lived when they moved back from India, and we were about to go through this door and enter that little observatory looking thing. So let's see what that is. Out we go. Ooh.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
Oh, okay. So that's what this thing is. Nice swan weather vane up there.
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
How sad. Looks pretty cool in there, though. What a thing to get for your 10th birthday. Yeah, Milton disappeared in 1992. And they never ever found him. Let's see. Oh, again, beautiful views. Now then, how do we get in here? Oh, through the window. We get. Mind your step. Okay. A door.
I think Edie was happy to finally have another painter in the family.
Oh yeah, I never put that together. They both painted. Wow. An airship. He also, it seems he also made models. I think that's some kind of landscape. I'm not entirely sure. Beautiful. Also, the music in this section is stunning. Oh, I'm either a little character Milton drew up or some kind of little cartoony art he did of himself. He wouldn't have a mustache though. Milton was only 10. 10-year-old boys do not grow fabulous mustaches like that, so. Up we go. Oh my goodness. So I can't see stars like this, not where I live. There's too much light pollution. It'll sound stupid. I went to Kansas last October, so before the pandemic, and that was actually the first time I had seen stars like this. You know, multiple of them, very clear. It was breathtaking. What do we have in here? Before we get to his little shrine thing. Again, I think he must have been creating some little world or something like that. Milton, 1992. I'm also noticing he had a motif of the crown and the mustache. Oh, he looks like such a happy little boy. Okay, what's this?
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Oh, this is cute. Achoo. Oh, the portrait came to life. And then he painted the door. And then he left.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
I like how do I put this? all of the other portraits are quite realistic. I like that Milton's is cartoony. I think that suits him. Let's close the book. Okay, so I'm guessing we're aiming to go up into that monstrosity. That looks like a health and safety nightmare. Okay. Back down.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
So that does seem to be Milton. Because it's a different hat, yeah, but the hair. Both Milton and Edith seem to portray Milton like that. And I'm guessing this is the door that he drew. Can we look out this way? We can't. Sad times. Back out we go.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
So maybe Milton just ran away. He didn't like the fact that, you know, he maybe he couldn't cope with the fact that how do I put that he wasn't living in India anymore. Maybe the culture shock
Mom
was a little
definitely
bit
blamed
too.
Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself.
Oh. I was going to say, Lewis was older. He was a teenager. I think he might have been able to cope with the culture shock better. Obviously, Edith was a baby, so she's not going to know anything. But Milton...
After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Lewis Finch, 1988 to 2000.
Everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room. Except Lewis.
I'm guessing Edith and Lewis had quite a good bond. Very psychedelic. Nice. I like Lewis's room. Now then, which way do we go? Oh, well, we can't go this way because there are no more stairs. And, oh, we're going... Oh, it's a boat! For some reason, I saw that it was a boat from, like, over there, but it didn't twig they put a boat on top of their house. I don't quite know why. Oh, we go. Come on. There we go.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Nice. Have the exit. No. I don't want to go out. Back in the boat. Okay, let's go forward a couple of steps so that she doesn't just automatically walk out of the room.
He was so proud of being Indian. I think for him, it was a way to be something other than just a Finch.
Ah, okay. So being Indian was a very large part of Lewis's identity. I'm trying to think, maybe, because like I said, I was thinking that maybe Milton had the most culture shock. It was too different for him and so he ran away, but... Oh, wow. Nice. But that being said, I could see Lewis, because he's so proud, he can kind of immerse himself in the culture in America. He could, like, he puts up flags and posters and all that kind of stuff. And he's old enough to, you know, be able to say, I might not be there anymore, but I can still be me. The high school diploma. Nice.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Aw. So, Milton didn't have any books because his room was so full of art supplies. Well, not his room, his observatory. His castle art studio thing was full of art supplies. And it seems like Lewis doesn't have any books either, but he does have video games. We've got The Red King's Dream, Trust Me, Oliver Twist. Are these DVDs, perhaps? Wuthering Heights, Through the Looking Glass, Faust, We the Media, something of the 1800s, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I'm guessing these are DVDs. So Lewis didn't like to read, but oh no, he does have books, excuse me. Let's see, mathematics, stop, drop and roll, geography. Yeah, so these are all from Dawn. Lewis Finch, locker contents. Had a nice setup. Admittedly, I imagine that the light would get kind of distracting, but it is nice to have a gorgeous view whilst you game. Lewis Finch, yeah, the can. Oh, is that blood? Ooh. Let's see, what is this? Greater Seattle Institute of Psychology.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life.
Yeah, they said he worked in the cannery.
He kept working at the cannery. But he withdrew part of himself.
Grab the fish.
In our sessions, I saw the same behaviour. His mind began to wander.
Oh. Oh no. I can't do two things at once. I am not prepared for this.
I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about.
Oh, this is so cool. But I have piss poor hand-eye
new.
coordination. And I struggle with doing multiple things at once.
And toads.
Oh, this is...
And things that have not names.
Grab the fish. Grab the fish. The fish are getting in the way.
He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously.
Go fish. Okay, now
I
this
had
way.
hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more.
Oh!
I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused.
This is wonderful.
Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on.
Oh. So there are a couple of ways I can see this going, but I'm guessing the reason why this psychiatrist is sending Dawn this letter is because she feels guilty.
I even encouraged him.
Yeah, that's...
It seemed very promising at first.
Oh, a doggo?
He told me he'd made a new friend.
Dog friend. Oh, go fish.
on the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play.
I wonder if Lewis was inspired by Milton's drawings. Nope, not the palm tree.
He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger.
Stuck boxes, there we go.
He no longer spoke at the cannery.
Come, my people.
But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet,
There we go.
were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished.
Oh, no. We need to go this way. Oh, excuse me. Oh, dog
He
friend
held
isn't
an
coming with
election
us.
for mayor. And he won.
Go.
They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
Oh! I know I'm not speaking much, but it's beautiful. Also very
Conquer a city and then
challenging.
immediately push on.
So we've got world domination with Lewis.
New Louisville.
Of course, we're naming the cities after ourselves. Alexander the Great would be proud.
St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality.
Oh, whoops. Come on, around the island. What are we naming this one? Can we... There we go.
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis.
Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery.
Oh.
Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on.
Oh, Dawn. Come on, avoid it. Ah.
In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a
Beautiful prince or a handsome queen? Oh, I don't know. What am I feeling more today? Handsome queen.
handsome queen.
So Lewis could have been bi. That's interesting. Oh, was he dealing with issues about his sexuality? Oh, poor guy.
The queen was on her own quest for
Sinister serpents or radiant rainbows? Radiant rainbows, please. Get some pride up in here.
radiant rainbows.
Come on, through all of them.
He followed the sound of her
Electric sitar or whoops! Oh dear. Silver. Oh, sitar, dude. That's cool.
electric sitar.
Slightly. Come on, stay the course. Yes.
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
Oh no, I can't even see the thing now. Oh no. Oh,
He knew
God.
the world was all in his imagination.
Oh crap, oh crap. So many fish, too many fish. Lady, please wait up.
But he was so proud of having created it.
That's right,
In
fish.
his own eyes,
Be gone.
he'd become something greater than a king.
Oh, this is cool.
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming.
Oh, he became
And then it struck
obsessed
me
with it.
that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace.
Why does this remind me of that film? It was an early Tom Hanks film where it's basically
My imagination is as real as my body, he told me.
It's they're playing D&D and then
It's
like,
hard to argue with him.
oh, you might become the character. Oh, through the door. Through the door. Oh. This is the cannery. God, I love the colour palette they're using. Because compared to the world outside, this is so dreary.
He began to forget the world we know.
Oh, we had a switch. Get legalized marijuana. And, yeah, the Imperial Palace, the only place that would deliver to the Finch house.
I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
Hello?
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
Oh, Lewis. He's just so busy imagining. Oh, God, buddy.
I still thought I could save him.
It's good that the
Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder.
it's good that he had this psychiatrist who did genuinely seem to care. I mean, the fact that she's writing to Dawn after Lewis died kind of speaks well of her, I think.
The palace would be packed with his companions.
Oh, look at this, and we're getting a parade. This is so much better than the cannery. Also, again, very good music. Hello. That is a...
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him.
Molly! Edith did mention that they found a kitten and Dawn named her Molly.
His queen waited, holding his crown.
Oh no.
There was only one thing left to do.
And that was...
bend down his head.
That is a lovely dress. But that's...
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Oh, Lewis. That was, again, another wonderful sequence. Oh. I think you could play that as one of two things. Either it was a tragic accident or he committed... Personally, I think he committed suicide. I think he was so... Oddly, keep doing drugs, kids, and you won't see how banal and shitty your life is. No, close the book. Close the book. Come on, no. Come on, close it, close it, close it. There we go. Flippin' heck. What else did he have? Oh, there's a sultan figure. Maybe that's the handsome... the beautiful prince. If we had picked the beautiful prince, and the handsome princess would be in the box. Ooh, that's interesting. Now then, where do we go from here? We go to the exit. Of course. That makes sense. I really enjoyed that. It was a little bit difficult for me because I don't have the best coordination skills. Still, that was great.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing.
Yeah.
She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie.
I doubt Edie was happy.
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
Maybe a little bit of both. I think it's very clear that Dawn blamed a lot of what happened on Edie. So I think it's both the fact of, I don't want this old woman to be kind of worrying, oh, they're all leaving me, they're all gonna go. At the same time, I think she is kind of like, I'm gonna punish you. I'm sorry, Edith.
But I understand why we left.
There are so many moving boxes. They were planning on leaving, they were packing, but there are loads of moving boxes still here, so what happened? One of Edith's leaf prints. Oh. And, in loving memory, Lewis Finch. Guessing this is Dawn's
My mom
room.
ended up leaving everything behind.
Yeah. Why? Oh, all of Dawn's copies of her books. And the pictures of Sand, and his disaster relief jacket. And his ID card. He was an evac specialist. Why would she leave this behind? This seems really important. And here's a prayer. O God, you have called your servants to ventures of which we cannot see the ending, by paths as yet untrodden, through perils unknown. Give us faith to go out with good courage, not knowing where we go, but only that your hand is leading us and your love supporting us, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. And... oh, I think a car alarm's going off. Yeah, all of these pictures that I'm sure she would have loved to have taken with her.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time.
Oh. I'm guessing that,
Maybe it should have come sooner.
I'm guessing Dawn kind of had a go at Edie. Because, again, I personally, I think all of this is Edie's fault. Because she's so consumed with all of these stories that it's taking over
but it
everything.
had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Nothing over there. Oh, this is a cute little room too. Again, I think Lewis must have been taking stuff from that his siblings were doing, because I mean, like, look at the boat, look at the people, look at the little guards that Edith made. They look like the guards in Lewis's kind of dreams. And Edith, I think, most like her great-grandmother, Norwegian folk tales. That's Norwegian. It says Norwegian fairy tales, probably. And cute butterfly. Oh, a pen. A quill.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Yep. Here comes the arguments, because you know Edie isn't going to, Oh, and they've closed the door as well, damn. Yeah, you know damn well that Edie isn't going to go into a home.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles.
Oh, and they're not paying their bills.
When my mom said the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance.
Oh.
Or that Edie had a key to it.
We finally get to see what's in here. All the Finches are buried in the library. That's what Edie said.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My
Does she?
children are dead because of your stories.
Yeah.
I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight.
I'm in complete agreement with Dawn here.
We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Yeah, she's not going with those people. Let's be perfectly honest. What are these? The houses. Something in Norwegian, I think. Lots of things in Norwegian. Milton and Lewis. The night you were born. The mysteries of death and the afterlife. So this is the present. History of the... Oh, that's a scummy thing to do. Dawn doesn't want Edith to know these stories, so Edith's like, right, I'm gonna go above your head because I know what's better for your children than you do. Because I'm the family matriarch, therefore what I say goes.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out.
Here we are. Finally,
It was
we're
the
eating.
first and last time I ever saw the old house aground.
Oh, are we going home?
There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful.
I'll
No.
bet.
I've seen that house every day of my life. I never thought I'd go back to it.
What was
When the
waiting for you,
fog
Edie?
rolled in, I lost my way.
Oh dear.
I got turned around.
Okay, if we can't see where the red...
For a while, I wandered.
If we can find where that red light is, we can probably find the
I
house.
started seeing things.
Oh. Hello.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw
Old
them,
bed?
they felt like old friends.
And I think
That night,
a
a
wheelchair.
lot of things came back to me.
Oh, this must have all been inside the house. Damn.
Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that
The
I
house as
needed
it
to
was.
try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go. I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car.
Yep, Dawn's had enough of this.
I never saw Great Grandma Edie again.
Goodbye, Edie.
The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone.
Oh. She died alone in the house.
After that, we moved
with
around
all
a
her
lot.
stories. To be honest, I kind of think that's how she would have wanted to go. Hey.
We both tried to make the best of it.
My hand is a dolphin.
A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot.
Oh.
The rest happened pretty quickly.
Oh.
She got better for a while, and then she didn't.
Oh, Dawn.
And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive.
Is that a heartbeat?
Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you.
Oh. Oh, we're being
Now I hope
born.
you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself.
Oh, that heartbeat's getting very
I guess
fast.
if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way.
Oh, Edith.
This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Right next to Lewis, in the family graveyard. There we go. And that was What Remains of Edith Finch. I greatly enjoyed this game. I want to do a little bit of a discussion on what I think, because the stories were rather, how do I put this? I think there are simple answers to how each person died. Bar one. And I'm going to get to them last. Molly, she ate a lot of dodgy stuff that night. She ate holly berries. My boyfriend actually pointed out they could have been plastic, in which case she ate plastic. She ate toothpaste containing a lot of fluoride, and she ate gerbil food that was right next to gerbil shit. There's got to be so much bacteria on that. I think she went to bed after eating all of those stuff. She became very, very sick. She had this kind of fever dream where she was a cat, then she was an owl, then she was a shark, then she was a sea monster. She woke up for a brief second, wrote it all down, and then unfortunately I think she died not soon after that. I imagine that Edie probably discovered the body, the next morning when she went in to wake her up. Barbara, I think one of two things happened with Barbara, depending on how much of that Penny Dreadful comic was true. I think the beginning of it was true. Barbara was scheduled to perform at a horror movie convention. Sven cut his hand. He had to be taken to hospital. Barbara got stuck babysitting Walter and couldn't go. And I think the ending is true. The Finches come home. They find the glass table broken. The banister on the loft bit is destroyed. Barbara and Rick are nowhere to be found. And everything gets blamed on Rick. I think, for me, it all depends on whether the ear in the music box is true. If it wasn't true, if that was something that the Penny Dreadful kind of added to make it seem creepier, then I think that Rick killed Barbara. I think that she dumped him for whatever reason. He snuck back in to have an argument with her. They were arguing on that loft bit outside of Walter's bedroom, and they were in a bit of a pushing match, and he just pushed her. She goes through the balcony, she dies, and Rick kind of takes her body and runs off into the woods. And Walter witnesses it all. If the ear in the music box is true, then I think potentially a group of people broke in to kidnap Barbara. I think this was a ransom scenario gone wrong. And they left her ear in the music box as a kind of here's to show that we actually have kidnapped her. Someone was writing a ransom note someplace. And at that point, Barbara started struggling. I think they were on the landing. Again, they're trying to, don't struggle. We've already cut off one of your ears. We'll do other stuff. And she ends up going over the balcony. She falls, she dies, and they're like, shit. We didn't actually mean to kill her. So they take her body, they take Rick, and they just bury them. They kill Rick, obviously, and they bury them somewhere in the woods. And again, that's... because I think something happened with Barbara. I do believe she was murdered because Walter... something he saw scarred him for life. Calvin, I think that one's cut and dry. He was trying to do loop-de-loops on the swing. They built the swing next to a cliff. He goes straight over. Sam, why didn't he check to see if the deer was actually dead? That's such a simple thing. Just, is it dead? It isn't. Let's kill it first. But no, he was so I need to take this picture of Dawn's first kill. That supersedes basic safety checks. I mean, what if the deer had knocked Dawn off the cliff? What if, he was putting his daughter in danger? Walter. Poor Walter. Under the house for 30 years, Edith is selling stories to papers, using Walter's kind of anxiety to make her more famous. And on the day he decides, you know what? I'm good to see the world. He gets run over by the train. Like I said, I believe that shaking was a train coming by every day at 12, and either the shaking stopped either because there was a workers' strike or because the tracks were damaged, and then on the day he decided to leave, the train was just running a bit behind. Hence why it didn't shake at 12 on the dot. Gregory. I think out of all of these, I think Lewis was my favourite sequence, but I think Gregory's affected me the most. And I mentioned this at the time because he was so little and he was so dependent on everyone else. And I'll say this again, I think this was Kay's fault. It was an accident. It was absolutely an accident, because if it was on purpose, then she would have gone to prison for killing her son. But you don't leave your child in a bathtub. And it was... She wanted to argue with Sam so badly that she was like, you know what, I'm going to put my child in a dangerous situation. And it was very unfortunate, it was very tragic, and despite Sam saying, Kay, it wasn't your fault, he was being nice. He was being polite. He was trying to spare her feelings. It absolutely was Kay's fault. Sam could have called back. She didn't need to argue with him. She could have done that later. Gus, who was flying his kite and got crushed by the tent. So we did see the beach, and we did see that there was like a lot of kind of debris knocking about. I believe there was a totem pole thing that got knocked over. I might be misremembering that. Again, this is another thing about Sam. He hadn't introduced his new wife to his remaining kids. The first time they met her was at the wedding. Dawn was the more obedient child. She was like, sure, I'll play nice. But Gus, with his little faux hawk, was like, no, screw that lady. We don't know her. Why on earth would we play house with her? And I think this is, again, and I think a lot of these deaths are avoidable. Like, Walter, just get the man some therapy. Sam, check the deer is dead. Calvin, who builds a swing set next to a cliff? Barbara was murdered, to be fair. Oh, someone's hammering. Lots of interruptions from outside today. Barbara was murdered. You can't really prevent that. Molly, who puts all of this... Admittedly, the fluoride, that wasn't really anyone's fault. That was just the times. But she got sent to bed without dinner. She could have had a little snack. If you have a child that you know will eat anything and everything, send them to bed with a snack, not a full dinner. And Gus, when the storm was picking up, Sam, he was the adult. He was the parent. He should have gone outside and said, listen, Gus, I know you're not happy, but these are unsafe conditions. Go in the house. Go, if you don't want to be a part of the wedding party, that is fine. Just go in the house. Get out of the storm. But because he was outside when everything went crazy, he got crushed. Dawn, it doesn't say she had cancer, but that's what I think happened with Dawn. I think she had cancer. Edith died in childbirth, sadly. Lewis, again, I've seen people say that they believe that this was an accident, that Lewis was imagining putting his head to receive the crown, and he didn't realise that his body was following through. I think this was suicide. I think he committed suicide at the cannery, that he purposefully put his head underneath the shear thing, the guillotine, so that he could be Emperor Lewis. That's what I believe. Odin, he decided to go down with the house. Fair enough. Again, could have very easily been avoided by either taking a boat, leaving the house behind and just taking a boat with his family to America, or taking a plane, because I'm pretty sure that basic flight, basic plane crafts had been invented. And Edie, I think maybe she had a heart attack. The stress of that final fight kind of did her in, or maybe the alcohol she was drinking at dinner did have a very negative effect with her medication, and that's what caused her to go. And Milton. I mentioned one member of the Finch family doesn't have quite so cut and dry an answer. And if you're just looking at this game, Milton ran away. I should also mention this. I don't believe in curses. I don't believe in fate. I don't believe that things happen for reasons. I think that things happen because things happen. The world is a chaotic place, and to try and impose a sense of order on that chaos is ultimately a fruitless task. And now bear in mind, people who are grieving don't want to hear that, and you shouldn't tell people who are grieving that. Don't be a dick. People who are grieving want answers. They want to know why, especially people who have lost young children. Why did my 1-year-old have to die in that accident? Well, if that no one is providing an answer and the deaths keep on occurring, then a curse is a pretty good way of justifying that. But I think it leads to dangerous thinking. I love that conversation between Edie and Dawn at the end, where Edie was saying, what you're afraid of won't stop just because you're not in the house. Edith has a right to know these stories. My children are dead because of your stories. I think my feeling with Edie is that she is a narcissist. She likes attention, and I think this curse gets her attention. It's made her famous, and I think she's kind of imprinted that on her children. And the thing about thinking you're cursed, I've said this during gameplay, is that it allows you to behave rashly. It allows you to behave without thinking about the consequences, because it doesn't matter about the consequences because we're cursed. It doesn't matter that leaving my 1-year-old in the bathtub, that's like, if he dies, that's not my fault, that's the family curse. Not checking a deer is dead when I'm trying to take a picture of it. It doesn't matter if it hurts me or my daughter. We're cursed, so we're going to die anyway. Putting a swing next to a cliff, what does it matter? The family curse. And I do think that Edie, because she was so obsessed with this curse and she kept on insisting, we're cursed, there's a family curse, it encouraged her children to act irresponsibly. So I do agree with Dawn. Edie's stories have killed off this family, maybe excluding Barbara. And now, what was I saying about Milton? Yes, Milton. So, What Remains of Edith Finch was not Giant Sparrow's first game. They had a previous game that they put out in 2012 called The Unfinished Swan. It seems like a beautiful game that I would love to bring to the channel. Unfortunately, it was only ever made for console, so that's not going to happen. And basically, The Unfinished Swan focuses on a young boy whose mother has just died, and she was a prolific artist. She had, at the time of her death, she had 300 pieces of art, but not a single one of them was finished. And he's told you can keep one painting, but you can't keep all 300. And he chooses a picture of a swan, an unfinished swan. It's got a head and it's got a body, but it doesn't have a neck. And one night, the boy realizes that the swan has escaped its painting and is running amok. And so the boy uses his mother's magical silver paintbrush to basically kind of follow the swan, and he's trying to get it back into its painting. And he enters this beautiful painted world, and he learns the story of a king. And this king painted this world into existence. He painted himself a companion for himself, and then one day his queen disappeared, and the king painted himself a giant statue of himself to be his legacy. And the boy goes up to the top of the statue, the king is asleep, and the boy wakes the king up, and the king kind of has this thing of, everything has an end. As much as we don't want it to, everything must come to an end. Our time is finite, and we shouldn't, rather similar to what Edith said, we shouldn't be sad that that time is coming to an end. We should be happy that we had that time in the first place. And at this stage, the boy's magical silver paintbrush is broken, and the king gives the boy a very similar magic silver paintbrush, confirming that not only was the boy's mother the painted companion the king made up, but that the boy's father is the king. And the king is a man wearing a crown with hair that curls out like that, and a black mustache. And not only can we look at the similarities and be like, those are very similar, the game's creators have confirmed that Milton and the king are one in the same character. So Milton literally did figure out, I've got a magical paintbrush, painted himself a door, and he just left. He left to go to a magical painted realm, which rather confuses matters, because as I was saying, I don't think there was anything magical to do with the rest of these stories. Like, I don't think Molly actually became a bird and, all of that stuff. Molly was never a shark. I'm pretty sure that was a fever dream. But Milton, you little asshole, he confuses the matter a great deal. Also, something I'd like to point out is that painting above his doorway. I think that Milton returned. I think that adult Milton returned from the painting realm he was living in to paint that little adult version of himself in his old room above the door. I can't prove that, but that's what I think. Now then, I'm pretty sure I've spoken about everything that I wanted to with this game. I've spoken about how I think they all die. I've mentioned the fact that I don't think there was a curse. I think this was all Edie's insistence that we're cursed and I want attention, I want fame and fortune, and this curse is getting me that. I mean, what kind of mother uses the fact that her son is so distraught, so devastated, that he takes to living in a bunker? What kind of mother, instead of getting her son therapy, instead says, you know what, I'm gonna go to the news reporters and say that there's a mole man living under the house. Ha ha, lol, Walter, so funny. Like, that's not funny, that's incredibly disturbing. In short, everything was Edie's fault. Edie was a terrible human being. I think I'm done. This was a lovely game. I greatly enjoyed this. I think it's going to be a tough act to follow. I'm not entirely sure what my next weekend game is going to be. Well, I've got a week to think about it at least, so we'll have to see what follows next Saturday. Until then, please remember to like if you enjoyed, leave a comment below, and if you wanted to subscribe, it will be very much appreciated. I've been... Oh, sorry, one thing. Whoops. Another connection to the Unfinished Swan. The weather vane on top of Milton's observatory. The bird was a swan. That was not worth interrupting my outro for. Okay, from the top, please remember to like if you enjoyed, leave a comment below, and if you wanted to subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. I've been Kallista. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.